Multimodal Project.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet, you see a cost proposal from Engineering Analytics. We have asked for construction management services, specifically inspection of construction work during the construction phase of the multimodal project. You see the proposal and an estimate of cost. And then you also have an email that is an email exchange between my office and Federal Highway Administration, where we outlined our plan for inspection of the project, construction management, and Greg Heitman from Federal Highway Administration emails back at the top. He says the division concurs with the inspection strategy that you have outlined in your email. The costs that we have there are paid by project funds. It's funded by Federal Highway Administration funds, and I recommend award of the cost proposal from Engineering Analytics.
So moved.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposal for construction from Services Engineering Analytics and Multimodal Project. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just as an update, Commissioners, the contractor has some requests for information. They go to Bohannon Houston, which also will be engaged during the construction phase in certain aspects, as you see in the email. They are working on getting a building permit. That's required for the shade structures that are in the base bid. We would anticipate they will mobilize to the site maybe as quick as next week, and we'll get construction going on that project. And we'll try to do as much as we can while the weather is good.
Motion passes. Do I tap on that one? Second item is to deliberate and act on award recommendations for Raton Senior Center roofing project.
Commissioners, you have a recommendation for award from the project architect, Alpha Design. David is present from the firm Alpha Design to answer any questions that you have. You see that we did receive 2 bids. We have the funds through capital outlay to fund the project in excess of the low bid. I'm just going to go ahead and ask David if you could kind of review the bid process for us real quick, or I can.
You're interested in the bid process or the project itself?
Well, just kind of the who's the low bid and what the.
There are 2 bids received. The low bid was from David Parker Builders based in Raton at $96,000. The other bid was Archuleta Construction based in Maxwell at $110,000. You're probably familiar with the resident contractor preference and the veteran resident contractor preference. When both of those are factored in, David Parker Builders is still the low bidder. This bid looks like it's good and complete, so that's why we recommend award David Parker Builders.
Couple of questions. Will the final cost be the $91,200?
$96,000 plus tax.
Okay.
So the preference is only used for the
For bidding
comparison
purposes.
and the award of bids. It's
Okay.
has nothing to do with the price that you actually pay. You pay the bid amount, but it is for the award consideration.
One other thing, David, the sunroom, is that glass roof gonna all be taken out?
Yes, there'll be no glass in the center. There's still some skylights farther back in the building, but they're not causing the problems
Yeah.
that the center is.
Okay. That's the only question I had. I just hoping they didn't go back to a glass roof.
Commissioners, we actually have, I believe, correct me, Dave, if I'm wrong, $140,000 of funding for the project. So we see how the bids come in on this. There's some interior work that's planned, and we'll come back to you with that additional work to expend the balance of the funds.
Dave, one question. Will there be windows on that downside of the wall?
There'll still be windows on the south side facing
All the
the
way
street.
down to the, I mean, big, large ones, or just?
From, I believe, about 7 feet up to where they are now, which is about 2 feet up.
All right. I'll make the motion to approve, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for Raton Senior Roofing Project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation for the Raton Senior Center roofing project. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is to deliberate and act on South First Street pavement rehabilitation project.
Commissioners, the design engineer for this project is Engineering Analytics. Karen Stearns is present to answer any questions that you have. Again, we've received bids for construction of the project, and if I could call on Karen, she'll give you all of the information on what we have.
Commissioners, we did receive one bid and it was responsive from Bill Serrazio Company. The corrected bid amount was $245,971, or $971.51, which includes GRT. That's actually lower than the amount that is funded by New Mexico DOT. That amount is $281,696. And so since that amount is fully funded by the DOT, we had figured this would be a good opportunity to increase the scope of the work to be able to maximize that funding. And so we're looking at adding the pavement for the Rio Grande intersection, which is in desperate need of being repaved. So that would actually cost a little bit more than what the budget amount is by about $13,000. And so that would come upon the city of Raton to fund that additional $13,000. And so with that, I'm recommending that we award the project for $294,746.40, so that we can go ahead and proceed with that project.
And Commissioners, as far as our share of the funding, first of all, typically we do have the gasoline tax fund, which is specific for street improvements, but you remember that we had the general fund street improvements, that we had laid out a plan to expend those funds previously to you. We came in $23,000 less than budget on the chip seal project, and we have not been able to schedule the contractor on the crack sealing, which we had budgeted about $17,000. So right now we're sitting at $66,000 or $67,000, something like that, in that fund. And the plan that we had laid out for you last spring, we're underrunning by those amounts. So I think we would opt to expend those funds first. But we do have the funds for the additional work.
Okay, good.
And this will not make that goofy to that street in front, that's the section that goes in front of the mortuary, that's still gonna look like two different
That's
streets
correct.
laid side by side.
We're not changing that. I don't know the story on that. I don't know why that's constructed that way. All we would do is rehabilitate the asphalt pavement, but we would not change that.
Change that. Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the award to the South First Street Pavement Rehabilitation Project. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion, any other comments, questions? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is deliberate and act on award of Galisteo Avenue, Pecos Avenue resurfacing project.
Commissioners, we had scheduled a special meeting tonight because obviously we're trying to we're getting late in the construction year. We have time to commence on construction of all of these projects, fairly aggressive fall construction schedule that we're laying out to you. And so the last project that we'll talk about tonight is the Galisteo Avenue, Pecos Avenue resurfacing project. This project consists of repaving or resurfacing the asphalt streets on 3 blocks of Galisteo and Pecos Avenue. Our proposal is the block of Galisteo between First Street and Second Street. That's at the senior center. And right now, that block is really chopped up because we did replace the water utility and the service lines in that block. And because we plan on removing that asphalt, treating the existing base and paving on it, we did not go back and patch those trenches like we did on First Street. So it's in bad condition right now, but the plan is to remove all of that asphalt, and construction would commence next week, I would say, on both of these projects. On Pecos Avenue, the plan is to edge mill the existing pavement and overlay, and that would be 2 blocks from First Street to Third Street, up to the corner of the middle school, or intermediate school, or junior high school, or whatever it is now. And I would state that on Pecos, we need to replace about 200 feet of curb and gutter that is really deteriorated, and that's not really in the bid that we're looking at here. And additionally, on First Street, we need to replace some curb and gutter. Part of that's related to multimodal, and part of that is just deteriorated pieces. So we would probably do about another 300 feet there. And so I did bring up the funding that we have, the $66,000. This curb and gutter that we're talking about is probably about $20,000 that we would like to inform you and get your concurrence on replacing. And that's outside of the funds that we're talking about. It's just City of Raton funds. So what we're looking at as far as Pecos and Galisteo, we have 2 cooperative agreement grants with New Mexico DOT, and they total about $109,000 and some change. And if you back gross receipts tax out of that, we have $101,000 for construction. So you see the bid. One bid was submitted by WM Serrazio Company for this work in the amount of $93,910.45, excluding tax. So we have about $7,000 of funds less than the bid. So it's a good bid, and it is only one bid, but it's a very fair bid, and we recommend approval to WM Serrazio for the bid on Pecos Avenue and Galisteo Avenue resurfacing.
So you'll mill up to Second Street, stop, and then jump across and mill up to the...
That's right, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the award of Galisteo Avenue to Pecos Avenue Resurfacing Project.
I'll second.
Good girl.
It's been moved and seconded to award the award of Galisteo Avenue, Pecos Avenue resurfacing project, and award the bid to WM Serrazio Construction. All in favor say aye.
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 Any other discussion? Motion passes. Is there any other business to come before this special meeting? Seeing none, I move this meeting is adjourned.